I'm here with Tom Balding and Blake Fields. We have a little extra time after the session talking about U21. But one thing I wanted to kind of ask about is that was Blake and I were talking about it before, but this has been a heavy GC schedule for quite a while, and now all of a sudden next up really is there's a little bit of a break, but AC Worlds in October. So are you guys both getting ready to change gears, and if so, how does that work for you?
I've already started trying to change the gears. Unfortunately, the schedule being what it is, and most of the pros, most of the top players in America now being croquet pros, I was one of the few who was of the American team that was able to get away for the AC Nationals last March. But it was still a lot of fun. Zach Watson was there, Robert Fletcher was there, Sharif, and several others. But it's nice getting back into AC. AC is the game that I found first before GC. It's the one I still love the best. And I'm as much as I love GC now, I know, Blake, as much as I love GC now, and it is a close second. It was nice refinding that beauty of AC again and reminding myself why I liked it so much and sometimes why I despise it. But GC does the same. So I'm excited to just kind of switch gears. Obviously, I'll still be playing a lot of GC when I can. There's several tournaments, I think, coming up on the calendar year or two that will demand my attention for GC. But really looking forward to getting back in sort of that high caliber AC competition and just running breaks and making it work.
Yeah, just like I said, like we were talking about earlier, the last AC tournament I played was in December, last December, so it hasn't been too long since then. And then the last AC tournament I played before that was October the year before. So for me, when it comes to AC, it's probably max a tournament a year, and that's even pushing it. I'd say definitely this year on the calendar, it was just stacked with GC. I mean, October GC Worlds, February Open Shot Team Championship, this tournament, June possibly British Open, possibly Spanish Open in June, October going into the AC, but GC Nationals for these guys in May. Unfortunately, I can't go. So I mean, even though Tom's trying to switch over to AC, he's still going to be having GC Nationals coming up in May at the end of the month. So he's going to have to go into GC and then switch over and get ready for the Solomon and go in the AC, which has a 2-day GC test match coming up before it. So even though AC's going on, GC's still kind of interrupting everything, which I'm very happy about. GC will probably always be my favorite game, even though I love AC. AC is just it's just such a challenging game where I like it, just all the different variations of ways the game can be played. Definitely going to be trying to switch over more and be practicing a lot more. AC Worlds in October, it's going to be nice. It's going to be kind of the start of some AC stuff coming on here. You got the Solomon, you got the MAC next year, I believe, right, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the MAC coming up. You got AC Worlds. So super exciting to be able to see some AC tournaments coming up. So yeah, going to try to switch over after a heavy GC year. Maybe try to make the MAC team and just start sextupling out of nowhere maybe.
Yeah,
but,
let's do it.
Yeah, but for now, been heavy GC year, obviously been my favorite game, but excited to be able to switch over to AC. You know, I've always said AC is going to be the key to me winning a Golf Croquet World Championship, and it has been to a certain extent. You know, AC, even though I don't play it a lot, you know, whenever I practice, it helps my Golf Croquet game. And you look at the best players in the world for GC, and, you know, we have Tom, which I believe is still ranked number 4th in the world for GC.
For the time being. Hopefully when this becomes published.
Yeah, number 1 in the world, we got Robert Fletcher. And you look at Matthew at number 2. And number 3, I'm not exactly sure who's number 3. I know you guys are 1, 2, and 4. Almaty's number 3, okay. And you look at some of the guys, you know, you got Fulford up there, you got Reg up there. And you're just looking, all these guys are not only top GC players, but the top AC players. And the way they're able to kind of convert their AC game to help with GC, when it comes to running controlled hoops, the center ball clearances, you know, Matthew's Irish grip, one of the most consistent things you'll see in croquet. Fulford center ball clearances, consistent. Tom, his pre-clears, he center balls all of them. You know, Steven, all of our top guys, Ben, all of our top AC players are also our top GC players. So I think for people to be able to stay at the top of GC when it comes to their setup shots, when it comes to running those odd number hoops down to the even number hoops, when it just comes to being able to center ball clearance and be comfortable hitting soft pace, AC is probably the most crucial part. You can't just practice it playing GC. When you're playing AC, it just comes naturally. You're rushing a ball from 4 yards, and all of a sudden you don't think you're going to use it in GC until we talked about, going up to hoop 13 after hoop 12. Next thing you know, you have a 1 yard rush, and if you hit one good shot, you win the game. And, it might be a Game 5 World Championship, hoop 13, and that AC rush is going to win or lose you the World Championship. So AC converts over to GC, which is why a lot of GC players need to start playing AC more, and a lot of those guys that only play AC need to start playing GC more just to focus on those hit-ins and those kind of harder hoop shots, jump peels or drag peels, whatever you want to call them. Both games help each other so much. I think 6-wicket is where you kind of run into the issue of where it doesn't convert to really golf croquet at all, only because it's so much strategy and, you got deadness and there's not a bunch of big hard hitting because of, can't go out of bounds. So 6-wicket, I think that's why it's kind of seemed like it's been on the downfall. It's because you can't convert anything from that game to golf croquet. But AC and golf croquet are similar games with different strategies, but the shot making in those games, they help each other out. So I think that's where Thomas became such a good golf croquet player, starting with AC, is because he runs all the controlled hoops. He can hit hard, he can hit soft. He could pre-clear and center ball those shots at whatever pace he wants. So that's where it helps a lot of those guys. And that's kind of really important about playing AC for me.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. A pure GC player, someone who's just come from GC, is going to be a lot less comfortable doing the kind of promotions that someone coming from AC or even American would do because it's a rush shot. That reminded me, you were both talking about touch earlier and how important that is. Is there anything specific that you guys do or have done in the past to develop touch, distance?
So for me, and when I started out, despite the fact that I played a lot of AC, when it just came to like single ball hitting, I had basically one pace and it was full blast. And I was accurate, but if you asked me to start taking off of that, it was difficult. So in my touch, that kind of translated as well. My swing was always just very big, and I just lost a little bit of that feel as I started to try and wind it down. So what ended up happening was I could do rushes really well, but if you asked me from 20 yards away to go set up at that hoop just with my ball, that's not something you really do a whole lot in AC. And I hadn't really developed that sort of swing versatility. So for me, a lot of it was just like I would put a bunch of balls, in like corner 4 where you start the game, and I would just try to line them all up at hoop 1, get them in the cone, and then from hoop 1 to hoop 2, get the 4 balls in front of hoop 2 in a certain area I determined, and just starting to actually like expose myself to the shots that I know I'd have to hit, or like, from a hoop like hoop 3 from the side boundary, setting up from 7 yards to the side and trying to get it directly in front where it might be wired, or just like I'd done with AC, practicing the rushes, practicing the approach shots, from, the splits from the boundary and things. I think a lot of people, especially young people, skip that part. I know I still don't give it as much attention as I ought to in my practice because it's just more fun to hit balls. It's more fun to run breaks. It's more fun to, whatever you're doing, golf or AC, there's just parts of it that are more fun. I'll practice my 7-yard hoops for a lot longer than I'll practice setting up at a 7-yard hoop and trying to get perfect position. And I think that that's something that young people, especially the people you saw at this tournament, should dedicate more time to. I definitely am trying to dedicate more time to it now just because I've recognized that I can make 7-yard hoops just fine, but I really need to be perfect at setting up in front of a 7-yard hoop and maybe getting blocks and maybe just making sure that I get those wires. And it's not good enough to be off on that.
Yeah. What Tom said there, Tom and I have always struggled with our touch until kind of more recently it's been kind of getting better. Matthew pointed out to us at the open shot, they were like, imagine how easy the game would be if you didn't hit your first positional shot to the corner of hoop 7. And, we would be trying to step to hoop 7, and we'd be in corner 2. And that's not exaggeration. We couldn't hit a setup shot.
Just straight down.
I mean, I was first to hoop 13 in one of my games, and the statistic, and I didn't leave it short, but I was off the west boundary in the penalty box, and I put that thing in corner 3. And I mean, it's literally in the corner. So when it comes to practicing touch, what I'm really focusing on working on right now is I'll get the 4 corner flags, I'll make a little square, and I'll just put a little square in front of the hoops to try to position in front of. And it's really crucial for me when it comes to my positional shots now to where I am trying to truly pick a spot where I'm trying to put that ball. And instead of just having a general area and kind of guessing and just hitting to a general area, I want to actually be able to have a specific spot, course, I'm not going to land on it 95% of the time, or probably more than that. But if I just am able to aim at a target, it just makes me focus a lot more on that positional shot. And then I'm also really trying to focus now, and I've been trying to get the members to work on this whenever we're working together and teaching, is trying to memorize the ratio of the backswing I'm taking. And just, if I'm going to hit that setup shot, because Tom will tell you, and a lot of these guys will tell you, there's a lot of setup shots in the game that are the same distance. Hoops are the same distance apart going to different hoops across the court. So, going, for example, hoop 4 to hoop 5, hoop 10 to 11. That's the same setup shot. And those are arguably some of the most important setup shots going into the middle hoops to control the middle. So if you're able to kind of memorize how much backswing you need to take, whether it's a foot, half a foot, and how far that ball's going to travel, that's kind of a lot easier for now. Every single time I know, I have a 21-yard setup shot. This is how much backswing I'm going to take to get to this shot. And once I'm able to figure that out, and that's one of the things I'm working on right now, instead of just guessing how much backswing I need, truly putting the work in to figure out and memorize the ratios, that's going to be crucial to figure out how hard my setup shots need to be hit. And I think that's going to be probably the most important part of my game that I'm trying to work on.
I was just thinking a little bit about what you guys were talking about earlier, kind of the difference between AC and GC. And for me, I find I like them both. And I guess, I don't know if I would choose one or the other, but the one thing for me is GC is just like so stressful to me. And like AC is so relaxing, because once you're in the game, it's just up to you and whether or not you're going to make a mistake. But in GC, it just always feels like it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, you get up like 5-0 or 6-0, you start to feel pretty comfortable or whatever. But it's almost like every shot, it feels like everything's riding on it. So I'm like, when I play a lot of GC, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go over to AC for a while and relax a little bit, because then it's just up to my own stuff. It's not somebody else messing up my shots.
It's actually a very interesting, one of the conversations I've had with Stephen Morgan, but also with a few others, is GC is a lot like war, we call it. It's you against this other person, and they're trying to stop you, and you're trying to stop them, and there's a finish line. And AC is a lot more like a dance or something, where there is no real opponent you have to contend with. He's sitting down, and he can't really jump up and do anything to stop what you're doing. It's you against the court. And it's all about precision and making sure you get around the court in a specific set amount of shots and making sure that you leave the balls in the right spots. It's very coordinated. But, yeah, it's more relaxing because it's just me and my mallet and the balls and the conditions I'm playing on, and there's really nobody here that's trying to thwart me. So Steven says he prefers to practice AC but play GC, and which I thought was very interesting the first time he told me, and I've thought a lot about it. He's explained his reasoning, but I think it really does come down to that difference where it's like you can't. GC is stressful. GC is high intensity, can be, and GC is very fast and dynamic, and it's full of unknowns and variables because you're playing a different human being. And AC is a lot better for just being on the court and by yourself, getting grooved in, practicing all of these other shots. I'm going to rush this ball right to there, and I'm going to, run this hoop 2 feet instead of 3 feet, and, just working on that control. So they both, I think, cover very different mental aspects of the spectrum that croquet can give you. And I think that's why some people gravitate way more to one than the other a lot of the time and don't want to give the other a shot because it feels so different and maybe very uncomfortable. But if anyone out there does want to improve their game in either of them, you should expose yourself to that full range that they can both offer you, because you can take things from one end of that spectrum back to help you on the other.
It's a selling point. It's a selling point, right? Because a lot of strokes are the same, a lot of shots are the same, but the games are, for people who play outside, it looks the same, very much the same to people who don't know. But internally, we know these games are very different, even though they share common things.
Yeah, and then just one of the things just Tom's talking about is when you're playing AC, and you guys are both talking about, it's truly just you're playing, and it doesn't matter who your opponent is. If you do the job you're supposed to do, you're going to win. And your opponent can't stop you, right? There's obviously some instances, if you're playing, obviously I could be playing Tom, or I could be playing kind of a player that's kind of newer to AC. Obviously, Tom's not going to make as many mistakes. And that's where the part, to me, is where GC to me is less stressful. Because when I'm playing GC, I know I can make a mistake every hoop, and I still have a chance to win that game. When I'm playing someone like Tom, I make a mistake, I might lose that game. But then you also have the factors to where if you do your job you're supposed to win that game, and in GC, you could do your job, your opponent could do their job better, you still might not win that game. So that's where those games get really tricky, is just trying to figure all that stuff out. But they do correspond to each other, definitely, like we were talking about with the touch. You know, when you're hitting a stop shot in AC, it's not much different from a stop shot in GC. Obviously, the balls are together, but your technique's not much different. When you're hitting a drive shot, it's just like a soft hoop shot. It's not much different. And then even for me, when I'm going to hit like a half roll, I mean, you watch Stuart Lawrence, you watch some of these guys hit their roll shots, bend, and, you know, sometimes that back ball is jumping. So for me, that half roll is almost similar to a jump shot. So although you're hitting roll shots and the balls are together, your technique's a stop shot, a soft hoop shot, and a jump shot. It's just different with the balls are in contact and your aiming and your ratios. But your technique's still the same. You're still working on touch, and they truly do help each other. You know, I'll be the first person to tell you, I've never played a game of American rules. I won't talk bad about it. There's a reason why I've never played it. To me, you know, the game just doesn't seem like it's for me. You know, for Tom, you know, it might be for Tom, it might be for all you guys, but for AC, it does help my GC game. And, you know, I might tell people, oh no, I don't like AC. And, you know, deep down, I do like AC, and I wouldn't have won Golf Croquet tournaments without it, and I wouldn't have won AC tournaments without Golf Croquet. So they truly do help each other, and I think to become one of the best players in the world, you do have to play both. Obviously, you can be better at one than the other, but if you just stick to one, you know, that's kind of the thing we're seeing with the Egyptians lately, is they don't play AC, they have one mode. And the last time we saw an Egyptian in a Golf Croquet championship final was 2019. Obviously, that was just 2 world championships ago against Ben. But Mo does kind of tend to play, well, I mean, he's coming to AC Worlds in October, so he obviously is able to adapt and play that kind of controlled game, and he's able to hit softer, he can run controlled hoops, he can set up well, he can clear soft. But the Egyptians that are still not playing any AC at all, obviously, or trying to adapt to hit softer, you know, you can't win games just chasing all over the court, hitting as hard as you can, hitting from everywhere. That's what I've had to adapt to. You know, I used to hit really hard. I had one speed, kind of like what Tom said. But now we're able to work the touch into it. You know, even if I just use that touch like on 10% of my shot, okay, maybe 5% of my shots in a game, you know, sometimes it's just one hoop. If I have a 7-yard controlled clear in the center, you know, it might be the most important shot of the game. And if I hit it properly, I might win a match. It's just one hoop, but that might help me out to win a match. And that's only because of my AC game. So yeah, you got to play both to be the best in the world. You could prefer one, which I obviously do, but don't force yourself to just stick to one. You know, don't be super stubborn. Just try to play both and maximize the potential they have to help each other.
I should qualify. I think AC is only relaxing when you're in. It's really stressful when you're out, right? I mean,
absolutely. When you're sitting on the sidelines,
I just ignore what they're doing.
Yeah.
Pop your headphones in. And
just American, I play them all, but I think American is a really hard place to start. And a lot of people in the past, you know, now everybody starts in GC, but I think American is a hard place for people to start.
I actually started with American. St. John's, we play 9-wicket, but it's with American rules. We adapted as many of the rules as possible. So my first tournaments outside of college were American rules, and I was already quite familiar with, you know, the rules and the format and and will always have a soft spot in my heart because of it. I will say I haven't competed in an American rules tournament probably since before COVID. I haven't been able to make it to a nationals yet. I've been meaning to, but they're just in weird times of the year for me. But I actually am a big proponent of learning AC or American rules, whichever one you want to teach, first before GC. And the reason I have for that is that I can, if you already know how to play AC or American rules, I can teach you the basics of Golf Croquet in 2 minutes, and you could be playing a full game of Golf Croquet a minute after that. You already know how to swing the mallet, you know how the hoops operate, you know the ball order, you know all of that. I just need to teach you some of the individual rules, offsides, and a couple other things about Golf Croquet. If I teach you Golf Croquet first, you'll pick it up quickly, not quite that quickly, but you'll be playing the same hour that we're working together. But the transition from a person who's comfortable with Golf Croquet to American rules and AC is a lot less comfortable. Because as soon as you've established that you can play one game and that you're comfortable with it and your friends play it and there's no reason for you to learn the whole new set of shots, the gap of desire to learn that new game becomes a lot deeper. It's like, well, why would I start at square one again? Why would I feel incompetent again when I've already become proficient at this one game? This is enough croquet for me. So at my club up at Grandfather, David Malouf, if you came out for a lot of the years that he was the pro, you learned American rules. There was no GC. I still have members to this very moment that have never played a full game of GC and categorically refuse to, despite my protests. But I will say it's made instituting GC at my club a lot easier, and people take to it very quickly. And that just would not be the case at a lot of other clubs where GC reigns supreme. You don't get as many people to stick with it just because for every 10 people you expose to AC or American rules, one might decide to stick with it. For every 10 people you expose to GC, they'll all probably walk away thinking, okay, that was kind of fun. Maybe 3, 4, 5 people decide I'd like to keep doing this on a semi-regular basis. So it's much better for retention purposes and exposure that we do GC first. But in terms of just developing the well-rounded ability of a player who's going to be serious, I think it's better to start on the other side.
Absolutely, okay. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for the extra time, and thank you for doing this. I'll say again, I guess, to our watchers, to subscribe, like and subscribe and everything. And I appreciate you guys taking the time. You guys have any secondary closing thoughts today?
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a good day.
Yeah, thanks to Tom for hopping on here with us. We're a good doubles team, good commentating pair, apparently. But, thank you, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this.